Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be going over some of the things you can do in Adobe Audition with demonstration video 1. So the first two things we're going to go over are the waveform and the multi-track. Now the waveform, after you put in audio, the waveform likes to show you the exact audio. So it'll show you how loud everything is and things from there, as opposed to the multi-track. If you put something in there, the multi-track gives you multiple different options to use multiple different sounds. So let's say I'll go to my files and I'll import, say, something from my lesson 3 folder. Right, we'll do narration 3. If I go to waveform and click on narration 3, wrong one. I'll click on narration 3 for waveform. You can see you can see everything. You can see all of the, like, where it gets loud. You can see everything from there, the quiet parts, all that. But if I go to multi-track and I put in the waveform, it condenses it and it lets us work with multiple different things, so we can stack different sounds on top of each other. Another interesting thing to note from this is that everything you do in waveform is permanent. Once you save it, it's there, as opposed to the multi-track. Everything in there isn't permanent. You basically create a separate file for you to use, and you can go from there with that one. Doing a waveform that makes it a pretty cool thing to use is zoom in. Now they have many different zooms to use. You can find them all down here on the bottom. They have a zoom to selection, which if you select something, it helps you zoom in there only. So if I was to press I here and put O here, it zooms in on that selected part, and they have a zoom out on the selected part as well. So it lets you just zoom in and out on the parts you selected, and even zoom in to the specific point. So if I get rid of all that, then we have your regular zoom. So the zoom in, and the closer you get, the more easier it is to see what's going on, what you're doing, like what part you really want. And you can always zoom in with that. You can zoom out with it. There's this right here, the zoom out altitude, or zoom in amplitude, and then this little button right here, zoom out full, just puts you back to the original screen, so like how it will look when you first start out. Over is how to get rid of some audio that you don't want, and what we'll be using is narration 5, and the ways you can get there is either by double clicking on this multiple times to the little box right here to get to where you want to go, or going to file and import. Now when we hear the audio, we'll hear some things like some coughing and some ums, so I'll play the audio for you real quick.
First, once the files are loaded, select the file you want to edit from the drop-down menu. Well, actually, you need to go to the File menu first, select Open, then choose the file you want to edit. Remember, you can open up multiple files at once.
Now for that, we're first going to focus on the part right here, and there are multiple different ways you can do this. One of the different ways is, first you're going to want to select the area that you want. So we're going to select this area right here, and the first way we can get rid of this is this little circle right here. Now with this, you can adjust the noise that's in there. So if you want to make it louder, you move it over to the right, but if you want to make it lower, you start to move it over to the left until it's absolute 0. You just can't hear it. So if I was to play the clip right here, nothing. You don't get anything. Another way we can get rid of it is just by deleting it entirely. So you would select your section that you want to get rid of, and just press delete, and that gets rid of it. No more of the no more of the clunkiness, no more of the awkwardness that brings. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go over to this part where he coughs. I'm going to mark our section right there, and we're going to silence it. Now Adobe Audition has this really cool thing in their effects called silence, and what it does exactly what it's called. Once you hit silence, that's no longer there, and then all you have to do to make it kind of match up together, it just delete the spaces until you think it works well. So if I press play, there's nothing there. It's just complete silence. To get rid of is the popping sound that you get on videos. So with the audio we have P popping, I'll play it and you can get a sense of what we're talking about.
P popping is one of the most annoying things that can happen when recording narration.
So as you can hear in the beginning when he says P popping, it pops out, and that can be, like you said, annoying to deal with. So what you can do is they have this little square right at the top called fade in, and you can use it to help lower the sound so there's not that big puh sound in the beginning. So if you hear it now, it's not as loud. You can use it to make it a little less louder. So if I go back all the way to the beginning, let's see, it's not as loud as it was in the beginning. So let me try to get it right for you guys. So as you can see, it lowers it, so you don't have to deal with that loud sound. So as demonstrated. But another cool thing you can do with the fade in is see if you move it in a certain direction, like you move it up or you move it down, there starts to become a curve. And if you somehow manage to just move it straight, there's not really a curve. So depending on how you move this depends on if the audio gets louder or if it gets shorter. Next up, we'll be working with the effects racks for this one. So for this, we'll be using drums 110. I'll let you guys hear it first. As you can hear, nice little drum beat. And what we'll be doing with it is we'll be adding a analog delay in the delay and echo section. Now, if we just use the regular delay that it gives us, I'll play it for you guys. You guys can hear slightly the delay that's used in the video. Now, the main thing that kind of determines this delay, or one of the main factors, is feedback. Feedback kind of determines like how much of a delay there is, or how many delays there is, I guess you could say. So if I was to turn up to 50, you can hear a little bit more. Say I was to turn it up to a nice 73. On every snare hit, you start to hear it more and more delayed. Now, one of the ways you can fix that is by turning it down some. So if I was to turn it down all the way to 0, you can tell that there's not that much of a delay. There's not much of that like delayed sound. So the best thing you can do is to try and set it at a nice level. So I would say maybe somewhere in the 20s area. Maybe just 20% in general, or maybe you want to go down to 15, but somewhere in that area is a nice spot to pick for how much delay you want. So if you want to hear it again, just like that. One of the things we need to talk about are the differences between the effects rack and the effects tab in general. Now, they both have or both feature some of the same things. So if I was to click on here, the effect real quick, if I was to click on here, you see the amplitude and compression, delayed echo, filter, EQ, modulation, all that good jazz. And if I was to go to effects, the same thing is basically there, all right down here. The only difference is effects adds a little bit more. So you have match loudness, you have generate, which can generate noise, speech, tones, reverse, invert. The effects window just adds a little bit more than what the effects tab actually does, but it's still okay because they still feature some of the same things. So the next thing we'll be covering is match loudness. Now, when you're working with audio, clearly you don't want anything to be in the red down here on the levels. If I was to pick a spot, just play it, you can see how it went into the red up there. That's something you never want. Now, for the two audio clips I'll be using Tech House and Continental Drift. And one of the ways you can get rid of this loudness is by using Match Loudness. If you go over to Effects, go all the way down and click on Match Loudness, it will give you this right here, this window. And what you would do is you would click, drag it down into the window, and after that all you have to do is click run. And now that you ran it, you can see that the levels are a lot lower than what they were before. Even if I go to Tech House, a lot lower than what they were running before. So if I as you can see on the levels on the bottom, they never go into the red, and that's really important for if you don't want any of your work to be too loud and really mess up the video with how loud it is, because people can't hear you talk, and that's really the importance of match loudness. So the next thing we're going to do is try to get rid of the hiss in this audio. If you listen to the audio, there's a clear hiss throughout the entire thing. So I'll play it for you right now. Play it for you right now. The hiss is clearly there. So in order for us to get rid of this, we're going to have to go to noise reduction. But first, we're going to highlight this area right here where the hiss is, right in the beginning. Go to the effects, and then go all the way down to noise reduction. You're going to want to capture the noise print first. So hit OK after that. Then go back up to effects, noise reduction, and hiss reduction. And as you can see, it puts it at levels that might help. So say we're putting it at 10. Listen back to the audio. The hiss isn't completely there anymore. Now, if you want to get rid of it completely, you would go to the reduce bar and scroll up. So I'll just scroll up to 100, it'd be gone. But I like it at a nice 20, so we'll keep it there. After that, you hit apply, and the hiss is virtually gone at that point. You can barely hear it. So I'll be showing you guys how to get rid of a piece of audio you don't want with the healing brush. Now, in order to see the audio, you'll have to zoom in a bit, and you'll need to use the frequency display. So, click that. And the audio we don't want is right around here. So, next you will use the spot healing brush and just kind of color in the spot you don't want. So, about all right here. And as you can see, it gets rid of that area. So we do some touch up, and that area is basically gone, and it gets rid of what you don't want there. Lastly, we're going to cover just how to really track how loud your video is. One of the ways we do that is through the loudness radar. So how you get to that is go up to your effects, go all the way down to special, and you want to pick the loudness radar meter. Now what this does is this uses the circle to track just how loud your video is. So if I play it, you can see right along here is the loudness for it, so it's pretty high. And one of the things we can do to reduce that is this button right here again. Put it down to about like 9, and if you look over here, you can see it's going down. So say I lower it a little bit more, about right there. You can see that it went down in loudness. So this is a really good way to really track just how loud your audio is for your video, and it's a good just reminder of what to do for if your video is too loud and how to know like when you need to raise or reduce the levels. So we'll apply that, and after it's applied, that's basically how loud the video will be. So that's all I have for today. Thank you for viewing my video. If you want any other kind of tips, we do have video editing tips on my channel. Make sure to look back at those, and have a good day. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow if you want to see more.